Hi everyone, welcome to this month's edition of Connecticut Local Business Spotlight Tour. Just finishing up a book here in one of my favorite chairs, and my favorite chair is actually made right here in Connecticut. If you look behind me, a lot of you might recognize that stenciling. It's not only made in the United States of America, it is made right here in the state of Connecticut. So it's fitting in October that we're at a local manufacturing company, because October is National Manufacturing Day, and this particular manufacturing company was opened back in 1818, so we're talking 201 years ago. With me is Rick Swenson, the owner of Hitchcock Chair Factory. I know you're not 201 years old, Rick. You look pretty good, but I know you're not 201. So
no, not yet.
How did you get involved with Hitchcock Chair?
Well, I was involved with the company back in the early 2000s doing restoration for the prior owners of the company. I've always loved the product. I've been a woodworker and restorer for years, 40 plus years, and loved the Hitchcock furniture. I got involved with the company, and as I said, in the early 2000s, and became the company's restorer. So, for instance, if you had some older furniture and you wanted to have it repaired, they would send you to me. I was working in the back of one of their buildings, actually, and doing some of the work in the factory, trained with their artists on how to do the stenciling, had access to the original parts to do repairs, so it worked out really well for us for a while.
So you don't not only sell brand new stuff, but somebody has an older piece of Hitchcock chair furnishings, they can bring it to your facility and you guys can work on it?
Yes.
Make it new again?
That's a large part of our business, because after 201 years, there's a lot of furniture out there, and we still make it today the way they made it 50, 60, 100 years ago. And one thing about that quality is it lasts. So if the paint gets scratched or a spindle gets broken, you can repair the chair but bring it back to new, so it'll last for another 50 or 75 years. So that's really good value for customers who have the furniture.
I've always been told, and I know my parents have Hitchcock chairs, the rocking chairs in their home, that that is the top quality, is Hitchcock chairs. And I know, being in government and being in the governor's office many times, that he has quite a few Hitchcock chairs in his office. And I understand they're scattered around the U.S. Capitol as well.
They're in the Capitol, the White House, most of the large museums, everywhere from the Henry Ford Museum. I've seen them down at Colonial Williamsburg. I think they're in the Winterthur Museum. So they've made it around the world in 200 years.
I tell you, that's something to be very, very proud of. So people think of Hitchcock Chair as a chair, because that's in the name. But what else do you manufacture here at your facility?
Well, besides chairs, we do benches, rocking chairs. Up until recently, we're doing bedroom furniture. We still do some of the beds. We're not making the larger pieces right now, unless the business volume comes back, which would justify doing that. Then we'd love to be able to do those again. But we do dining tables, coffee tables, end tables, decorative mirrors, tavern signs. There's quite a broad line still.
Sure. So if a designer wanted to, they're designing a kitchen or a bedroom, and they say, we like a certain color, can a customer pick out a custom color that you could make and stencil for them?
On some pieces, we try to keep, on the stenciled furniture, the classic line, we try to keep it as close to the original as possible. Try to maintain that historic relevance of the company. So we wouldn't necessarily do a rush seat chair stenciled in a bright orange.
Right. Yeah.
Even though that might be interesting to. Well, we've had requests, similar type requests, but I think trying to go back to Lambert Hitchcock's vision and carry that through historically is a lot of why we're here still. There's been a consistency over the centuries, really, and there's no desire to mess with that, I guess.
So if you sit in a chair that has the straw portion that you sit on.
Yes, the rush.
The rush, and I always call it caning or weaving, I guess, or is that the process for putting it together?
Well, weaving is the process. Caning is a different process than rushing. Caning is done is more of an open weave. We do some of that, and the rushing is when you talk about the classic Hitchcock chairs, as on the front of the book, that is a rush seat. That's done with natural cattail leaves. that are treated a certain way, and then they're woven in one at a time and added in to make a continuous flowing seat. It's got tremendous strength. A rush seat, if it's taken care of, will last 100 years or more.
Well, you just shared with us off camera that you had an employee that's recently retired. And how many years had that individual worked for Hitchcock?
Well, in the last year, that's the second person that had over 50 years with Hitchcock. And you see that going through with a company like this, that over the years there were 3 and 4 generations of people that worked. The grandfather worked, the father worked, the son worked, and his children were interested in the company. So there was a continuity over the years with Hitchcock.
That speaks a lot, not only to the product that they pride themselves in making, but to you as an owner on how you treat your employees, that they enjoy working here, and it's like going to their second home, really, if you will.
Well, it's true, and if you've grown up in a tradition of craftsmanship, there aren't that many places around where you can still ply your trade. You can either be an independent shop, or if you're a wood turner or a cabinet maker, or you want to learn how to make chairs, there aren't that many places you can do it anymore. So if you've got that desire, or you grew up with that desire in your life, this was the place to do it.
So you're actually in an old building here.
Yes.
What is your address if somebody wanted to come in your store hours, if somebody wanted to come and check out the actual products that are already on display here?
Well, the address here is 13 Riverton Road in Riverton, which is Riverton's part of the town of Barkhamsted, and Riverton Road is Route 20. So we're fairly easy to find, though your GPS can send you in the wrong direction.
Sure. But it's a nice area if you've got lots anyways.
It's a beautiful area. We're surrounded by state forest and parks, and we got the Farmington and the Still River coming together right outside our door. It is really like a step back in time to the 19th century to come here. It's a beautiful place.
What are your hours?
Living here, and I love working here.
What are your hours?
We're open 10 to 4 Tuesday through Saturday, and 12 to 5 on Sundays.
Fantastic. And some people may be inhibited by the ability to get here, transportation, but they can shop. It's the 21st century online if they like, right? Check out your website.
We have a website, hitchcockchair.com. It's got a catalog on there. It also directs you to our salespeople, so you can discuss anything with people on the phone as far as colors and styles and availability and pricing.
How about we take a walk in the back and we show the folks the behind the scenes?
Sounds like a good idea.
Excellent. Let's do it.
Side. We'll take a step into the plant here. It's small and cozy, but we produce a lot of products.
What's your square footage in your whole facility?
This whole building's about 6,000 square feet with retail, offices, restoration, and manufacturing. So it's a squeeze. It's cozy, as we say.
But you have 2 showrooms, right?
And we also have a showroom in Canton down at the shops at Farmington Valley. We've had that for about a year.
Okay.
That's
So people can
nice
go there, and
exposure.
if they can buy, if they don't see it there, they can look online or come up here to the showroom.
Yes.
Perfect.
We have a lot of people, because we're about 12 miles apart, a lot of people go from one location to the other and back again.
Okay. Yeah, let's check it out.
And here we store unfinished product that's just been made, and some finished product, and a little bit of everything in this room. It's kind of Fibber McGee's room. Hardwood, this is mostly maple and cherry that you see right here. And from here it gets milled up.
Are these like native? I don't know, a maple and cherry native to this area?
Yes, most of the maple comes from northern New England and New York or southern Canada. The cherry mostly comes from out western Maryland and Pennsylvania, in that area. That's sort of known as cherry country.
And when you get it in, it's already planed down?
Well, we bring it in, it's what we call skip dressed. It's rough planed. We have them skin it so that we can see if there's any defects in it before we start to work on it. And then we'll pick the boards we need to match for color or grain, and then we start working it from there. And we'll bring it down to the finished size and match them up, glue together what we need to glue together, and try to get the best match.
Well, you do, because I've seen your finished product, and there's no defects in that. And this is old school. I noticed you put in some pegs.
Oh yeah,
Wooden pegs.
These are actually brass pins. We use.
Oh, brass pins? Okay.
They're very tight tolerance, so that when the table opens and closes, when all the leaves go into the table.
Oh, all right.
Lines up. See it pouring.
Yep.
We try to maintain a nice tight fit on them. It's tough because wood's a natural product, and during seasons it expands and contracts, so sometimes they can get a little snug. So if you take multiple pieces, usually they're a little wider than these, but these happen to be some narrow boards. Wood has a tendency to want to cup, so if you alternate those, one cups this way, one wants to cut that way, they sort of counteract each other, so you end up with a more stable surface.
Okay.
Like these are for our college chairs, our presentation chairs.
Okay.
So they'll come in. We order them pre-bent. They come out of Vermont, and then they come in. We drill all the holes, cut out the shape, and then sand them all up, and get them ready to go. So that the chairs. Can you show you a chair a little later in the back?
It's a big table.
That's actually with the building. That's the same table. We also do
What
the
we
same.
saw over there is what's going to look like this.
Yes. Same thing with the chair parts. Legs will come in as a turning, and then from there we have to cut them to size. Front and back legs, we put what's called the chuck on the end, which is machine. This machine here, kind of like a giant pencil sharpener.
Yep. Okay.
And then the holes are drilled to make it a left or right or a front or a back. So there's a lot of different best way to do it. And then from here they go to prep, what's called clean sand or prep sanding, where make sure that everything's smooth, everything's flat, all the little scrapes and scratches that happen, just moving it around, get it ready for finishing, and then we finish in the over.
Oh, you finish right in here.
Finish area, yes. Through here. Again, it's a tight squeeze.
Some beauties.
These are college chairs. Next thing, they'll get the school logos on them. These are going to end up with that. It's a series of overlays that connect right on they hook on the chair for positioning. You do the first one, and the second one goes on top of that, and then the third layer goes on that, and then the fourth layer. So when you're done, you've created the depth of a floral pattern, which when it's done, looks like that.
Wow.
So you've got leaves, you've got usually melons, some fruit, sometimes there's grapes, sometimes there's flowers. And this is the classic Hitchcock look that's been around for 200 years.
If you love history and you don't own a Hitchcock chair, you're missing out, basically.
I think you should own dozens of them personally.
Well, you can't have one person sitting at a table, so you got to have multiple.
Yeah, absolutely. Share with your friends. But these are just some of the more common patterns. We also do things like Bruce is working on a Seaport mirror right here.
All right.
So what do we got going on in this booth?
I'm building number 9 mirror, which we just finished. We build the whole mirror, cut all the parts. The turnings are cut in half after they're turned. And there's a groove in the back that we put blocks on to line them up. Everything's screwed together. Then they come to me and I take them all apart, finish them. And our decorator decorates each part. Then we put it all back together, put the glass in it, put the stenciled tins in them, which they are metal, which takes 3 to 4 hours to do each one of them. That goes
Now
in the
these
mirror.
are stenciled, right?
Yes, those are stenciled.
It's not just a snapshot, a picture, just
No, no.
plop it in there.
No,
this
they're
is
stenciled.
this is really handcrafted
Handcrafted.
craftsmanship.
For instance, these stencils, some of them have up to 10, 12 different stencils, and each stencil has multiple colors on it. We have a set up over there so that you can take a look at how they work and how we have to put them together. This mirror. These are all the different layers of stenciling, starting with the very first stencil, which is simply just the water in there.
So
It's
this right here is a stencil then.
Yep, that's a stencil.
And this right here is just the water.
Just the water, just the half of
water
the water.
sheet. Wow.
Because we start by spraying the tin white, and then he goes from there. He'll shade all the shading on, and then do each layer. And they get a lot more technical as you go
Sure.
through the layers. When you get up to like this one, it's got multiple colors on it. But all those little holes are all hand cut to make all the little houses that line up along the shore and all the boats and everything. And each one we work off a master panel so we know what part to spray
Right.
what color. And also there's shading done, which means you may have to spray this one white, and then you have to go along the edge, you got to darken it in to get the shadows through all of them. So they're little tiny pieces, multiple layers, But there's 12 with this one, right down to doing the name at the bottom, which is New Bedford, which is 2 sets. That was actually upside down. So you got half the lettering here and the other half's on here. So everything has to line up.
Sure.
And the lining up is these little tiny holes in the corners. So each stencil, those holes line up. So you take a thumbtack and you put it upside down. And
Meticulous.
Yep, and you just keep putting layer on top of layer on top of layer
Wow.
to get them done. There's how you, yeah. Which is
Very high tech.
Yeah, really, it works.
Masking tape and a thumbtack.
Been doing it that way for years. So
Rick, I just want to say thank you so much for
Thank
the
you.
tour. I really appreciate it. You know, it's a beautiful fall day here in Riverton. I would encourage anybody who loves quality craftsmanship to come out and visit your store here, either in Riverton or down in Canton. Again, you know, you guys are maintaining history.
Well, thank you for that. I would invite anybody to come on down. It's an interesting place. It's an interesting thing that we do, and we'd love to see you here.
Traditional American furnishings right here at the Hitchcock Chair Factory. See you next month.